As we get closer to the start of the summer transfer window, stories are getting crazier and reports are getting bigger. Today, my friends, I'll be discussing all the latest transfer target news as well as sale exit news. I hope you guys definitely enjoy it. To give you guys a heads up, expect another late upload tomorrow after the second leg game versus Real Madrid and Bayern Munich, because obviously with CL games on, I like to have videos after because the videos grow a lot better. So I hope you guys can bear with me, enjoy the video, and without wasting any more time. Yes, we have yet again more Estevao Willian updates, and this time today we have the Athletic co-sign. As we already know, we are heavily in talks to sign the 17-year-old from Palmeiras, and we are growing especially confident that we will win this race to sign the winger. Now, we got some confirmation that our Brazilian-based scouts have been intensely and relentlessly scouting him throughout the season. We know that sometime during November, December, Lawrence Stewart actually flew to Brazil to hold more personal talks with Palmeiras as well. So this has been a long-term operation for the winger, and it seems like all our efforts are starting to bear some fruition right now. Now, in terms of the negotiations, yesterday, Brazilian reports seem to suggest that a fee of around 40 million fixed fee plus 25 million in add-ons could be enough to get this deal over the line. However, in today's Athletic reports, they mentioned that it's a lot closer to being 30 million euros fixed plus 25 million in add-ons, which is nearly similar to the deal in which Real Madrid signed Endrick from Palmeiras. So in my opinion, I feel like the truth is kind of somewhere in the middle. I feel like as long as Palmeiras get closer to their original 45 million fixed fee up front that they wanted, I think we can get this deal over the line right now, because Estevao Willian is now set to become the most expensive sale in Brazilian league history, exceeding anything paid for Endrick. So if we're coughing up this amount of money, there must be a degree of confidence we're feeling behind his talent, and from a fan perspective, hopefully our use of this player. But obviously, we can't get too cocky and complacent, because we are now learning that Bayern Munich now are getting ready to make their first official bids, try and sign Willian themselves. So I can imagine they'll try and snake it. They're going to tell Estevao, listen, don't go to Chelsea. Look what they did to Callum Hudson-Odoi. Look at the situation at the football club. You know, come to Bayern Munich. You know, there's an environment here where there's a lot more catered towards growing your talents. Look what we've done with Musiala, Theo, and a host of other youth players. The Bundesliga is one of the best leagues in the world to cultivate youth talent. Now at the moment, with Madueke, Cole Palmer, Kenji Payet coming, will you feel confident that you will get the game time you need to develop? So there's a lot of interesting questions on the horizon, but as I'm saying, from a fan base perspective, you'd like to think that with all our continued efforts to try and get a deal over the line, we clearly see him as the next big talent to come out from South America. So my friends, it seems like we are getting nearer to the end of this deal. Hopefully this means that we will win the race to sign him. And obviously, share your thoughts and opinions. Do you think that Willian is a player that we must sign, or do you think we're kind of being a bit greedy now, signing anyone and everyone from South America? Now let's move on to discussing another interesting story that's come out from two publications, AS and Mundo Deportivo, and it focuses around Theo Hernandez of AC Milan. Now bear with me, I hope you guys don't turn off the video right now, but currently, we know that Theo Hernandez's contract ends in 2 years' time, in 2026, and during this period, when players have 2 years left on their deal, this is the prime time to make a move to try and sign them, and this is what they signal by not agreeing to signing any contract extensions. Now it seems like AC Milan are ready to sell him to reinvest in building and strengthening their squad for next season. But at the moment, it seems that Bayern Munich are the favourites to sign Theo Hernandez. Obviously, they're targeting him as the replacement for Alphonso Davies, and it's believed that Milan want between 60 to 70 million euros to get this deal done. But this is where things get quite interesting, because at the moment, it seems like Madrid are kind of putting their efforts to sign Davies on pause at the moment. And I think they've simply realized, wait, we have Ferland Mendy. And actually, this guy is a pretty incredible player that really supports and brings a good balance to a very offensive and attack-minded Real Madrid team. Can we afford to have both Mendy and Davis as our left backs? Do we need 2-star left backs fighting it out for one position? I think they're starting to realise that maybe they're being a bit too greedy now when it comes to making these signings. And currently, things have stalled because they won't pay anything over 50 million euros for Alphonso Davies, and Bayern want at least 60 to 70 million. So it does seem like there's a bit of a merry-go-round going on right now, because if Davies leaves, Bayern will replace him with Theo Hernandez. Theo Hernandez has 5 goals and 10 assists in 44 games. Like, his attacking output is world class, is absolutely ridiculous, and both reports mention that he has his eyes set on signing for Bayern Munich, probably because he gets to attack and play his best football. Now, they reveal that we are showing interest alongside Al Hilal, Man United, and even though Theo is interested in the clubs approaching him, ideally Bayern are his number one. But as I'm saying, that won't happen as long as Alphonso Davies still remains. But at the same time, how close is Davies to agreeing any extension at Bayern Munich? There is now pressure on him and on Bayern to try and find something, and we don't know at the moment if that will happen, because relationships have grown a bit strained due to these contract demands from Davies, where he wanted around like 12 to 14 million euros a year. Now, the funny thing is he accepted a reduced deal to sign for Real Madrid, because that was the main stipulation. But if Madrid do not pull through, then what's happening with his future? Because his contract expires next year. He has 1 year left on his deal. And then you think about us, because we have also shown a lot of interest in Alphonso Davies. And one of the things in which we have a massive advantage compared to nearly most clubs in Europe is that we have unlimited funds at the moment. Yes, we may not be able to spend all of that due to like FFP constraints, but we have money. We don't have any debts at the moment, and we can get deals like this secured. So it makes me think about everything we're seeing under Pochettino and our new system at the moment. You know, this 3-2-2-3 system. And it makes me think about how Cucurella is used. It makes me think about how we've seen Ben Chilwell used in a more advanced left-wing position. Then I think about where all our goals are coming currently in the team. They're coming from the right-hand side. But in football, you can't have your goal output coming from every attacking zone, left, middle, right, and up front. There has to be a balance. And I feel like at the moment, the left side is the support, the right side is the attack. We can make some alterations to this 3-2-2-3. Imagine if Cucurella isn't playing in the pivot. Let's say that's a Lavia. Let's say that's an Enzo Fernandez. And that would probably mean that if you want to find balance in that system, it would mean that maybe your left winger may have to be your left back instead. And then it makes me think, there's a reason why I keep reading reports and discussing us making moves to sign very offensive-minded left backs, very attack-minded left backs. And then I think to myself, okay, could this system work by replacing Cucu with a Lavia or more of a pivot player, and then replacing the left winger with a more offensive left back? Technically, everything could still work on paper. And then I think to myself, if you're an Alphonso Davies, could you feel like, oh, actually going to Chelsea where they can afford me, I'm in London, they have European football at least in the Europa League, because I think a lot of this falls down to whether we get Europa League football at the end of this season, then he may feel like, wow, I can go to a club where I get to play with even more freedom and license to attack by playing in this new role, which gets the best out of my game. Because ultimately, the top players, they want to play their best football. So my friends, I feel like we need to pay great attention to what happens in the left back market this season. I think that depending on this merry-go-round fallout between Madrid, Milan and Bayern Munich, maybe we are targeting whoever is left discarded from that race, right? So that's the left back news out the way. And now we discuss another massive story surrounding yet again another 16-year-old coming out from South America. This time he goes by the name of Franco Mastantuono. He's 16 years old. He plays River Plate as a 10. He's left-footed, and I'm not going to lie, this kid looks like an absolute sensation. But as reported by many outlets in Argentina as well as in Spain, and from Romano too, we are battling Real Madrid to try and prize them from his hands. Now, earlier this afternoon, Romano reported that Madrid are trying to negotiate a deal where they can overpay his release clause, which is set at around 45 million euros, to find a way to pay for his transfer over time. That's like one of the popular things in which to like negotiate to buy really expensive players these days. Franco sees his future at Real Madrid. That's his ideal, main, preferable option. That doesn't mean that we don't have a chance to sign him, because it has been reported that we have also scouted him very heavily alongside clubs like Barcelona, City Group, Benfica, etc, etc. Barca recently expressed willingness to try and negotiate something. He even held conversations with their director in Deco. However, due to FFP constraints and the salary limit in Spain, they don't have the funds for him, hence why they also dropped out the race to sign Estevao Willian. So at the moment, the race is completely open to try and sign Franco, and that's because Madrid haven't even sent any official proposal. It's still talks at this point in time. Now, reports in Argentina state that we would feel a bit confident due to ties with Enzo Hernandez and his past relationship at River Plate. They don't really go on into any detail to express what exactly that tie is. Could it be that we look to use Enzo Hernandez to try and entice him to sign for us? Maybe. But this report is interesting because it falls in lines with reports mentioned by Romano recently, where he mentioned that there's like 4 to 5 players in the South America region that we are keeping our eyes on and paying great attention to. And it seems like Mastantuono, and I know I'm getting this kid's name wrong, is probably the other option that we're looking at. Still though, we have to be realistic. It feels like Madrid are probably the main favourites right now. They see this bit of Valverde mentality in the player. And at the moment, the player has held conversations with head scout in Rooney Calafat, as well as general manager in Jose Angel Sanchez as well. So they're doing everything in their power to try and find a way to sign him. But there is something interesting in Franco's release clause, and that's the fact that currently it's set at 45 million, but it will raise to 50 million euros if a sale is not completed before the final remaining 10 days left of the transfer window. So there's a race against time to try and get this deal over the line. But to give you guys even more context, another reason why there's big interest around his name is because he also possesses a European passport, which means that he could sign for any club this summer at 16. He doesn't have to leave as an 18-year-old. Now, the player has 2 years left on his deal. Prime time to sign him. And as I said, he plays as a 10. And I have to say, I mean, he's a bit of a fantastic player, a bit of a phenomenal player. I mean, you're seeing the skill yourself. Look at the poise, the deftness of touch, the drop of the shoulder, how the ball's glued to his left foot. He goes for those like impossible dribbles where he's going to do the hard dribble. He's going to look for the nutmeg. He's going to dribble centrally instead of taking the ball out wide to try and find more space. He's someone that beats players for fun. And I'm noticing that there's this new style of attacking player that's coming out in the like Musiala modes, where they complete their dribbles in the congested central areas where, you know, if you can create havoc there, you're creating the overloads and you're stretching teams open like crazy. Back in the day, there'd be like more of an emphasis on a wider player, but I think right now top clubs want to have those stars that can possess those skills in the central areas, and I think Franco definitely has that, because when I see him, he don't look like a 16-year-old. Obviously, being from South America, Argentina, it's like these guys are born with like sleeves already, to be honest with you. He probably had his sleeve from birth. I sound like an old man when I complain about that, but I always just think, why are teens just getting tats so early when... I'm telling you, when you're 26 or when you're 30, you're going to think, why did I get this tat? I would have got something else. But listen, I'm not going to get into that. Let's focus on these reports. And I guess there has to be this main conversation, right? Are we just being greedy? I feel like both clubs are being quite greedy. I mean, you look at Madrid. Mbappe is going to be signing for them. They've got Arda Güler, who's been out for most parts of the season. They've got an abundance of talent, same thing as us. So it seems like whichever club can propose the best type of development path for Franco could probably sign him, but I think that's maybe Madrid. But then I think to myself, maybe that's okay. Let Madrid have him. We can't sign everyone. What would be the plan for a Franco? You know, Estevao Willian, Kendry Paz, they're all left-foot phenomenons. Like, there's going to be no system in the world that can incorporate all of them together, not for the fees and money we've paid. And then ultimately, on top of that, today, big news came out. Our under-18 team, they won the Southern League title. This now means that, you know, it's an unconfirmed date right now, but we're set to play Manchester United in the Premier League under-18 final. Obviously, I'll be covering that when it happens. And it's a reminder that we have some sensational talents here, and so far under this new ownership, they have not shown enough respect towards club-produced players. I think that's been the main frustration for quite a few of us. And we got some super talents of our own. Rio and Gumo, who seems like our very own type of Musiala regen within our academy. He's already been training with the first team, and it's just like, if River Plate had a kid like him, I would not be surprised if he's playing first team football right now. Because you know what? The significant thing about this under 18 title win is that the last time we did this, and obviously we'll find out if we beat United, but it's not happened since we had Reece James, Conor Gallagher, Gilmore, Hudson-Odoi, Guy, and all those players. And I don't know. I want to see a bit of care that academy grown players still have the opportunities, because we're one of the best in the flipping world. And this ownership and these directors, they have to start showing that and prioritizing club produced talents. So that's what I have to say on the matter. I don't think we need this kid, no matter how incredible he looks. Let's not act like it's a guarantee that if you sign them at 16, they're definitely going to be your next Messis or Ronaldos. It don't work like that unless you have the development path, and unless you afford to give them the minutes and make them the central parts of your system from a young age. So that's what I have to say on the matter. And my friends, we wrap things up with today's final stories. I think this summer is going to be yet again another massive summer, and hopefully the last massive summer, because we can't be buying anymore. It's getting too mad now. So my friends, on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed today's videos. Share your thoughts and opinions, hit that like button too, and I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow with some more videos.